The show where there are no penalties, nothing is offside, and everything is fair game. This is the Gloves Are Off.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Gloves Are Off. I'm Moses Woldu. We've got a great show for you today, but first we got to get to our guest and my co-host, Greg Buchanan. How are you?
Hey Moses, not too bad.
Pleased to be joined by CHRIS MCQUID. McQuid, of course, you were the head coach last year with the Rustlers curling team. This year, still helping out in the capacity, more of an associate role?
You bet, yeah. I guess retirement's harder than I thought. I still haven't been able to pull it off successfully, so helping out again this year for sure.
Well, you're still looking good, so you still have plenty of time to get into the mix if you wanted to get into coaching again. Speaking of coaching, obviously we know when you're a hockey coach, it doesn't matter what level, the stress, especially for a GM doing dual duty, can be a little burdensome. You look at what Coach Gary Van Herway, GM Gary Van Herway, has done since the cut-down day yesterday for the AJHL. Has made a few deals, and it looks like there's going to be more coming. The bigger ones, of course, talking about Tyler Kuhn, sending him out to the BCHL, got a forward in return for futures. And you look at the three-team deal they had with Drayton Valley, of course, with themselves, and a team, the L'Orange Ice Wolves of the SJHL, bringing in a defenseman, an 18-year-old defenseman, who Gary has told that he really likes and wanted him 3 years ago, but decided to go somewhere else. Now they got him with the Bobcats. What do you guys make of these trades? Good moves? 20-year-olds you have to get rid of for obvious reasons.
And I think we talked about this before, where Gary's in a tough spot where you don't want to say to the fans that we're giving up on this season, and they're not. You know, at the same time, they want to win this year, but it's going to be tough, and they know it. You get some very good teams. Short Park's a very good squad they're playing tonight. Spruce Grove is lights out. Fort Mac is lights out. Camrose in the south is very strong, one of the top teams in the nation. So coming out of the AJ and trying to get to the RBC this year is going to be tough. Next year they host it. So you want to win this year, but you got to win next year. So with that in mind, if you have commodities like you have two 20-year-old defensemen, Springer's one, and of course Kuntz is the other. Kuntz gets dealt, maybe Springer's next. I'm not just saying that's going to happen, but good chance it probably will. So if I'm Gary, I'm sitting there, I have commodities that can make me a better team, not just now, but for next season, I'm going to make those trades.
Absolutely, and I think looking at the future, nobody's going to be upset that they're looking at being stronger for a sustained period of time for sure. And next year, obviously, eyes are on the RBC Cup, so they want to be strong there.
You're giving up a couple of 20-year-olds. Does that say, or does that kind of give panic? I'm going to say to the dressing room, you understand the rules, but for the casual fan, they get upset. Lord knows people would be upset if Springer left.
Well, yeah, you know what? Let them get upset, you know, and they have to understand. I don't want to discredit the fans, but it's hockey people making hockey decisions. I love the fact that you're spending money, you're watching the Bobcats, but you're a fan. Let us run the hockey club, and we're doing it for the best interest of the club. You know, some fans are going to get upset that you're trading away 20-year-olds, you're trading away the team for right now for what's going to be a bigger picture next season. And the fans have to understand that and buy in. If they don't buy in, that's tough.
All right, guys, we're going to move on to the Grey Cup. It wasn't necessarily the greatest game, but it did have a great finish. Looking at that great kick return by Brandon Banks, only to be called back because of an illegal block in the back. Now, this game had plenty of reasons why you said Hamilton lost it. A couple chances offensively down in the red zone, and they could only get 3 points each time. But if you look at it overall, was this a game that Calgary won fair and square, or was this a game that Hamilton lost? And we'll start with you.
Yeah, you know, definitely. I think Calgary was the better team, and most people knew that going in too. And the call at the end, it's a tough one. I mean,
was that a block in the back?
I think if you look at the rule book, it definitely is, but it's I don't think it affected the play either, so it's a tough call. I don't think you can really fault Andre Proulx on there too much. I know he's a pretty inconsistent guy too, so it's tough, but it's one I struggle with because you hate to see it end like that.
Greg, I want to say this as well, because you had Ken Austin say, hey guys, during a press conference, he's not saying it was, he was chirping the call or was angry at the rest, but he's saying there's been a lot worse that happens in those plays that doesn't get called. Just saying.
Yeah, special teams is a unique play in the game, whether you're punting, you're kicking, that everybody's flying around, going a mile a second, and things happen. You run into guys, you trip guys, a lot of things happen. And flags, you know what, seriously, a flag can go down anytime you have a special teams, a punt or a kick. And unfortunately for Hamilton, it went down at that time. The thing is, it was right in front of the official. And the thing is, these officials are judged for their performance, just like the players are at the end of the season, whether or not these officials will get games for next season, and will this official get a game for the Grey Cup next year. And if he doesn't call that, that could cost him. So it's a tough call to make, but at the same time, as much as we dwell on that one play, the Ticats had the ball in the red zone how many times in the second half? They were horrible in the first half, and really, the Stampeders, if not for a break or two, could have had that game blown away and done at halftime. The Ticats were lucky to be in the game for the second half. They had their opportunities. They couldn't cash in. Unfortunately, it comes down to that punt and that flag.
Now, you still have 35 seconds on the clock. Do you in any way, shape, or form blame Brandon Banks? And the reason why I say that was, granted, yes, it's emotional. You're frustrated. You're probably a little exhausted because of all the running. And your team is on the field. Yeah. You're sitting there pouting on the sidelines, banging the ground. When you say, their players are telling him, get your ass up and go play. Do you think that Brandon Banks was, I guess, I wouldn't say selfish, but let's be honest, yeah, he was selfish and stupid for what he did.
Yeah, I can relate if it's Pee Wee football. I understand a 12-year-old, 13-year-old kid that is just, just crying his eyes out. But you're a professional athlete. Suck it up. You didn't win there. Here's a chance for you to win. Get on the field.
Yeah, not many guys are going to see too many Grey Cups in their lives either. So, I mean, while you're there, you might as well make the most of it and play right to the final whistle. It's, I don't know if that was me, I'd be as disappointed as you are. You got to get back out there and try to make a play.
So you criticize Brandon Banks in this case?
A little bit, yeah, for sure. I mean, I know it's emotional, but you got to get out there. Your teammates are relying on you. So.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we're going to talk about the CFL once again, talking about potential rule changes considering how low the scoring has been this season in the league. Stay tuned.